September 1st, 1939, 4:45 a.m. Europe was still half asleep when German battleship Schleswig-Holstein opened fire on the Polish garrison at Westerplatte, just outside the free city of Danzig. The sky flashed, the earth shook, and within minutes, German troops and armored units surged forward across the Polish frontier. It was the beginning of a war that would engulf the world. Germany called this new strategy Blitzkrieg, meaning lightning war, speed, surprise, and overwhelming force. No long trenches, no slow advances, just pure shock. But this story doesn't begin in 1939. To understand why Poland was attacked, we need to rewind. 1933 to 1938. Hitler prepares the stage. When Adolf Hitler took power in January 1933, he inherited a broken Germany, still humiliated by the Treaty of Versailles 1919. The treaty had taken away German land, limited its army, and crushed its pride. Hitler promised to restore strength, and he broke the treaty step by step. 1936, he remilitarized the Rhineland. 1938 March, he annexed Austria-Anschluss. 1938 September, he grabbed the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. March 1939, the rest of Czechoslovakia fell without a shot. Europe kept choosing diplomacy over confrontation. Hitler kept choosing expansion over peace. Poland was next. August 23, 1939, the secret deal that opened the gates. Just a week before the invasion, Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. To the outside world, it looked like a simple non-aggression treaty, secret protocol dividing Eastern Europe. Poland was sliced down the middle on paper before a single shot was fired. For a Hitler, this was perfect. No fear of a two-front war. For Stalin, it was a chance to reclaim territories lost after World War I. The countdown to war began. September 1st, 1939. Blitzkrieg unleashed. Before sunrise, German planes roared over Polish cities. The Luftwaffe targeted airfields, railways, bridges, and communication posts. Civilians woke up to explosions, fires, and chaos. The aim was simple: paralyze Poland before its army could even mobilize. German panzer divisions rushed forward with terrifying speed. Tanks and motorized infantry worked together, closely supported by Stuka dive bombers. Each attack was coordinated to break defenses in hours, not days. Polish soldiers fought bravely, but they were outmatched in the air, outnumbered on the ground, and cut off by precision strikes. September 3, 1939. Britain and France step in ... on paper. When Germany attacked Poland, the world held its breath. Britain and France had guaranteed Poland's safety just months earlier. So on September 3rd, both countries declared war on Germany. Europe had officially entered World War II. September 17, 1939, the second blow. As the Polish army retreated east to regroup, something unexpected happened. The Soviet Union invaded Poland from the east, claiming they were protecting minorities. It was a betrayal written in the secret pact. The fall of the West, Germany's lightning conquests, 1940. How Hitler overran Europe faster than anyone thought possible. After the fall of Poland in October 1939, Europe entered a strange pause. Newspapers called it the phony war, because although Britain and France had declared war, nothing major happened on the Western Front for months. Troops sat in trenches, soldiers played cards, and commanders stressed over planning. But behind the quiet, Germany was preparing something devastating. Hitler was not done. Poland was only Act 1. Winter 1939 to 1940. Europe holds its breath. As snow covered the battlefields, Britain and France believed their strong defenses would protect them. France trusted the mighty Maginot Line, a huge underground fortress stretching along the German border. To them, it seemed impenetrable. Meanwhile, Hitler, fresh from victory, began designing a new attack plan for Western Europe. Germany wanted control of Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, France. These weren't random targets. Each country offered strategic advantages, coastlines, resources, airfields, and access to the Atlantic. April 9, 1940. Operation Weserübung. Germany strikes north, Denmark and Norway. At dawn, German forces launched simultaneous assaults on Denmark and Norway. The speed was shocking. Denmark surrendered in less than 6 hours. Norway tried to resist, supported by British and French troops. But German superiority in the air and sea secured victory by June. Why Norway? Germany needed ports and access to Swedish iron ore, vital for its war machine. Europe started to understand that no nation was safe. May 10, 1940. The Western Blitzkrieg begins. The same day, Winston Churchill became Prime Minister of Britain. Hitler unleashed his most daring plan yet. German forces attacked Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and broke into France all at once. The Allies expected Germany to repeat the World War I tactic of attacking through Belgium. Germany had something different in mind. The Ardennes Gamble, the move that changed history. Instead of attacking France's strongest defences, German panzer divisions secretly moved through the Ardennes forest, a region the Allies believed was too thick for tanks. They were wrong. On May 13, 1940, German tanks broke through at the River Meuse. The French front collapsed like paper. The speed was unbelievable. Within days, German forces raced toward the English Channel, pushing the Allies into chaos. May 14, 1940. The Netherlands falls. After heavy bombing of Rotterdam, the Dutch government surrendered. The Germans moved on. The Dunkirk miracle. May 26 to June 4, 1940. Allied soldiers, mainly British and French, were trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk, surrounded by advancing German forces. It looked like total disaster. Britain stands alone. The Battle of Britain and the Blitz 1940-1941. The moment Hitler met his first real resistance. Summer 1940. Europe lay crushed under Nazi control. France had fallen. Scandinavia was captured, and the Low Countries had collapsed in weeks. Only one country remained defiant: Great Britain. Hitler expected the British to negotiate. Instead, Prime Minister Winston Churchill, newly appointed on May 10, 1940, gave a warning to the world: "We shall never surrender." War had entered a new phase. July 1940. Operation Sea Lion. Hitler's plan to invade Britain. Hitler understood that Britain could not be invaded until the German Air Force destroyed the Royal Air Force RAF. Without air superiority, crossing the English Channel would be suicide. So the plan was simple. 1. Attack RAF airfields and radar stations. 2. Destroy British Fighter Command. 3. Force Britain to its knees. 4. Launch a full invasion of the British Isles. Germany had 2,600 aircraft ready. Britain had fewer than 1,000 fighters. Everyone thought Britain would fall. July 10, 1940. The Battle of Britain begins. German bombers and fighters crossed the Channel in waves. Their targets: British shipping, radar towers, coastal towns, and air bases. The skies above Britain turned into a battlefield. But Britain had two major advantages: radar technology, home defense. British pilots could take off, fight, land, refuel, and get back into the air in minutes. And the RAF pilots became legendary. Churchill later described them with the famous words: "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." August 13, 1940. Adlertag Eagle Day. Hitler unleashed the largest coordinated air assault yet. It was supposed to break the RAF once and for all. But British pilots fought back fiercely. The RAF held the line, but the pressure was intense. Airfields were burning, aircraft were destroyed, and pilots were exhausted. Germany believed victory was just days away. August to early September. The RAF weakens. Bombings intensified. The RAF was pushed to its limits. Some air bases came close to collapse. The British were losing dozens of planes daily. Germany was on the edge of winning the air war. Then Hitler made a mistake that changed the course of the conflict. September 7, 1940. The Blitz begins. After a British raid on Berlin, Hitler became furious. Instead of continuing to attack RAF airfields, he ordered the Luftwaffe to switch targets to London and major British cities. This was the turning point. By shifting focus, Germany gave the RAF time to rebuild, repair airfields, rest pilots, and replace destroyed aircraft. London under fire. For 57 consecutive nights, London was bombed. September 1940 to May 1941. 1 million homes damaged, tens of thousands killed. Fires lighting up the night sky. Cities like Coventry, Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, and Glasgow also suffered heavy attacks. Pearl Harbor and America enters the war. 194-11942. The moment the conflict became truly global. By the end of 1941, the war had already consumed Europe, North Africa, and large parts of Asia. Hitler had invaded half the continent. Britain was battered, but unbroken. The Soviet Union was bloodied yet still standing. And far across the Atlantic, the United States tried to stay out of the conflict. But events in the Pacific would soon force America into the biggest military effort in its history. The road to war in the Pacific. 1930s tension. Japan, just like Germany, had ambitions of empire. After invading Manchuria in 1931, Japan expanded deeper into China, launching full-scale war in 1937. As Japanese forces pushed south, they clashed with Western powers over access to raw materials. America responded with oil embargoes, trade restrictions, diplomatic pressure. Japan believed these actions threatened its survival. To secure resources in Southeast Asia, Japan needed to neutralize the US Pacific Fleet. This decision set the stage for one of the most shocking attacks in modern history. December 7, 1941. Pearl Harbor, a day of infamy. Just before 8 a.m., the quiet Sunday morning in Hawaii erupted into chaos. Japanese aircraft swarmed over Pearl Harbor, unleashing bombs and torpedoes on American battleships and airfields. The attack lasted less than 2 hours, but the damage was devastating. 8 battleships damaged or sunk, 188 aircraft destroyed, over 2,400 Americans killed, entire harbor set ablaze. Japan believed it had crippled American naval power. Instead, it awakened the United States with a fury no one had expected. The next day, December 8, 1941, President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared war, calling the attack a date which will live in infamy. World War II was now truly global. December 1941, the Axis expands the conflict. Only days after Pearl Harbor, Germany declared war on the United States. December 11th, Italy joined Germany. Japan expanded attacks across the Pacific. Hitler believed America was too far away, too unprepared, too slow to mobilize. He was wrong. America moved with incredible speed. The United States mobilizes 1942. Factories across the US transformed overnight. Car companies made tanks. Shipyards built fleets faster than ever seen. Aircraft production exploded. Millions of workers, men and women, joined the war effort. The US became the arsenal of democracy. Key achievements in 1942. 47,000 aircraft produced. Hundreds of ships launched. Millions of soldiers trained. Massive aid sent to Britain and the Soviet Union through Lend-Lease. Hitler had awakened a giant with limitless resources. The Pacific turns into a firestorm. Japan launched stunning victories early on. December 1941. Hong Kong fell. Early 1942. Guam, Wake Island, and the Philippines captured. Singapore surrendered in February 1942. Japan seized Burma, Malaya, Indonesia. The Battle of Stalingrad and the collapse of Hitler's Eastern Dream. 1942-1943. The bloodiest battle in human history. By mid-1942, Hitler believed victory in the East was still within reach. Operation Barbarossa had stalled. Moscow had survived, but the German Wehrmacht still held vast territories. To Hitler, one city now represented the key to breaking the Soviet Union forever. That city was Stalingrad, located on the Volga River. It was a vital industrial hub and a gateway to the oil-rich Caucasus. But its name carried another weight. It was named after Joseph Stalin himself. Hitler wanted the city, not just for strategy, but for symbolism. The Red Army would do anything to defend it. The stage was set for the most brutal clash of the entire war. Summer 1942. Operation Blue. Germany moved south. After failing to capture Moscow, Hitler shifted focus. Instead of striking toward the Soviet capital again, he ordered his armies south toward the Caucasus oil fields. The operation unfolded into directions. Army Group A pushed toward the oil fields of Baku. Army Group B moved towards Stalingrad to secure the flank. At first, progress was fast. Roads were open. The weather was warm. Soviet forces were still recovering from heavy losses. By July 1942, German troops were closing in on Stalingrad. They expected another swift victory. They were wrong. August 23, 1942. The bombing of Stalingrad. The Luftwaffe launched a devastating air raid, dropping thousands of tons of explosives. Fires swept through the city, killing tens of thousands. Entire districts disappeared under rubble. But this destruction turned Stalingrad into a fortress of broken walls, collapsed buildings, and debris-filled streets. It was the perfect battlefield for the Red Army. Urban warfare leveled the playing field. September 1942. The battle begins, street by street. As German infantry moved into the ruined city, they faced defenders who fought for every corner. The Russians had a rule: not one step back. Factories turned into fortresses. The Red October Factory, Barricade Factory, Tractor Factory. Soviet soldiers fought inside walls, from basements, behind machines, in sewer tunnels. Snipers hunted freely. One of the most famous was Vasily Zaitsev, credited with over 200 kills during the battle. German progress slowed to a crawl. A city Hitler expected to capture in days dragged into weeks, then months. October-November 1942. A city in hell. By mid-autumn, Stalingrad was a nightmare of close combat. Tanks couldn't maneuver. Artillery was often useless. Fighters engaged in battles so close that soldiers described it as rat war. Bodies froze in winter streets. Food was gone. Ammunition was precious. Every building changed hands multiple times. Yet the Soviet defenders refused to surrender. Meanwhile, the German Sixth Army under General Friedrich Paulus was becoming overextended. Operation Barbarossa. Hitler invades the Soviet Union 1941, the largest military invasion in human history. By early 1941, Hitler stood at the height of his power. Western Europe had fallen. Britain had survived but was battered. The Balkans were under German influence. North Africa was on fire. To many, the Nazi war machine looked unstoppable. Yet behind this confidence, Hitler nursed an obsession: defeating the Soviet Union and destroying communism. This ambition would open the door to the deadliest front in all of World War II. Planning the unthinkable. Late 1940, even before the Battle of Britain ended, Hitler began preparing for the invasion of the Soviet Union. He believed the Red Army was weak, outdated, and poorly led. Stalin's purges of the 1930s had eliminated thousands of officers. To Hitler, it looked like an easy target. The operation's name, Operation Barbarossa. It would be larger than anything Germany had ever attempted. 3 million German soldiers, 600,000 vehicles, 3,500 tanks, thousands of aircraft, 150 divisions of infantry. This invasion stretched from the Baltic Sea in the north to the Black Sea in the south, a front line over 2,900 kilometers long. The plan was simple and brutal: destroy the Soviet Union in a few months. June 22, 1941, the attack begins. Before dawn, millions of German troops poured across Soviet borders. The skies filled with German aircraft as the Luftwaffe bombed Soviet airfields and communication centers. In the first hours, Germany destroyed more than 1,000 Soviet planes, many of them still on the ground. The Red Army was caught completely off guard. Stalin himself refused to believe that Hitler had betrayed the Non-Aggression Pact. But there was no time for shock. The German advance was unstoppable. The three German army groups. Hitler divided his armies into three main directions. 1. Army Group North. Target Leningrad. Goal: cut the Soviet Union off from the Baltic. 2. Army Group Center. Target Moscow. Goal: deliver the knockout blow. 3. Army Group South. Target Ukraine. Goal: capture farmland, oil, and industrial centers. Each group moved rapidly, breaking Soviet lines and encircling entire armies. Summer 1941. Blitzkrieg at full power. The Germans advanced deeper and deeper into Soviet territory. Towns fell quickly. Millions of Soviet soldiers were captured in enormous pockets. By August 1941, more than 1.5 million Soviet troops were prisoners. Entire Soviet divisions vanished. Villages and cities burned as the Germans pressed forward. Morale inside Germany was sky high. Hitler boasted that the Soviet Union would collapse in weeks, yet he underestimated something crucial: the Soviet Union's size, its harsh climate, and the resilience of its people. September 8, 1941. The siege of Leningrad begins. Army Group North reached Leningrad and surrounded it. Hitler refused to storm the city directly. Instead, he ordered it starved to death.